If you are over 50 and you're struggling to build muscle and get fit, trust me, you are not alone. I am 55 years old and I'm a professional natural bodybuilder, and I've faced some serious roadblocks along the way. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 biggest challenges that I had to deal with to finally see progress and add muscle in my 50s. And if you're facing any of these, I've got some strategies for you that I use that I think will help you to overcome these as well. I had just turned 50 and was in what I thought was okay physical condition. And you know, it's funny, I look back now and I'm like, that was not good. But here was the thing, I had kind of lulled myself into this, oh, well, it's okay. You know, I was in good shape once, I was really fit once, I trained really hard once, and so on and so on and so on. And these things became excuses to let me off the hook. And so I finally made a decision. And as I was getting to the point of that decision, these are the 5 biggest things that I had to deal with. And interestingly enough, before I even got to the gym, I had to face some pretty big challenges just in my own mindset, in my own thinking. So let's start with this. Number 1, I had to find the time. Here's the thing. I'm a full-time dad, single dad. I have a business that I take care of as well and run. So I had to figure out in that, where am I going to do this? And this was always the kind of the get out of jail free card for me, that, well, I could train today, but it's been a full day. I need to just relax. I'm not going to train today. I could eat properly today, but I deserve to have something because it's been a full day, or whatever the case might be. But I always had these excuses, and part of it was related to I didn't have the time. And you know what I found out? It was because I didn't commit the time. So it really came down to me saying, okay, if this is going to be a priority, then I need to carve the time out of my schedule. And so what I've done is I go to the gym first thing in the morning, because as I said, as a dad, I have to get my daughter ready for school and get us all packed up and out the door and take her to school, and then I go to my office. And so I found out that if I tried to do it at the end of the day, a lot of times I was just too tired from the day. I was just too, worn out from the day. And the other thing is that I didn't want to take time with my daughter and say, sweet pea, I could spend time with you, but I'm going to go to the gym. So I had to find a different place for it. So the big thing I did was say, okay, I'm going to put it in my schedule first thing in the morning. Before anything else happens, I'm going to the gym. And still now, 6 years later, that's still my schedule, is I go to the gym first thing in the morning. Number 2, I had to deal with my mindset. And I had gotten this mindset that, I'm not in that bad a shape. I look okay. I'm still sort of okay, right? So it's funny that we talk ourselves, maybe you've never done this, but I was basically talking myself into just staying the same. And it took me finally saying, no, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna shake myself out of this. I was in good shape once. I was once fit. I was once gonna compete in bodybuilding and all of these things, going back to my 20s and 30s. And it really took me grabbing hold of my mindset and saying, no, I'm going to do something different and make a difference now. I think I've told this story before on the channel. What happened to me is I happened to be somewhere and listening to, the song came on, the old Bruce Springsteen song, Glory Days. And the song is all about people who reminisce about their glory days, and their greatest days are all behind them. I remember it just struck me, and I decided I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say my best days are behind me, and so and just reminisce, but not do anything about today and tomorrow. And the thing for you might be watching this and saying, well, I'm not going to compete in any kind of competition. Well, that's fine, but yours may be to say, hey, I'm going to look ahead to something that I have as a good future with my kids and my grandkids and with my family and all of these things. So I had to really make that decision, though, and change that mindset. Number 3 kind of goes with what we just talked about with mindset, was I didn't have a destination. So here's the thing, without a destination, anywhere will do. And for me, it was kind of like, well, I'm going to maybe work out when I feel like it. I'm not going to work out when I don't feel like it. I'm going to eat properly some days and then eat bad for the whole weekend. And I did this on a regular basis. And so what happened was I got more and more out of shape while still thinking I was still doing okay. And once I dialed in my destination, which for me was I decided I was going to compete in a natural bodybuilding competition. And this was back, now this is 6 years ago when I did my first competition. But what I did do was once I decided I was going to do that, I paid for the registration. I paid for plane tickets. I paid for hotel, and I did it all non-refundable right away so that I wouldn't have an excuse, because I got to tell you, there were times in that process that I thought about, gee, if I could get out of this, I would. But once I had that destination locked in, I was 100% focused. And so I'm going to ask you, what is your destination? And maybe you don't know what it looks like, but take some time and really think about that. What is my destination? Maybe your destination isn't a competition, but maybe your destination is you want to enjoy summer. Well, we're almost done summer now, but you want to enjoy going to the beach for a holiday. You want to enjoy being able to play with your grandkids, or you want to enjoy going out and playing golf with your friends or your family, or whatever that looks like. But what is that? What does that picture look like? And I always talk about it this way: as a compelling vision. Have a compelling vision for your future. You know, there's a verse in the Bible that says, without a vision, people cast off restraint and run wild. And one of the reasons I cast off restraint before about, oh, it's a weekend, I'm going to eat whatever I want for the whole weekend, because I didn't have a destination in mind. So that one was a big foundational piece for me. Number 4, I didn't have a plan. Now, here was the thing. I have a lot of background in health and fitness, and I was a personal trainer at one point, or had my certification at one point, but I didn't have a plan. So it's kind of like, well, what am I going to do here? I'm just going to go to the gym once in a while. I'm just going to eat a little better, cut out certain things, add certain things, and I could do all of those things. But what really helped me was I hired a coach. Now, you have to figure out what makes sense for you as far as that goes, but I hired a coach so that, again, I was making an investment in myself, but I was also making myself accountable to someone, and with someone who could work on the plan, which my big plan was the nutrition, and having to get a hold of that nutrition. And I found that once the nutrition was on track, my training got more focused. It all kind of went together, but I had to get a plan. And so for you, maybe you're saying, hey, I need to maybe talk to a trainer. Maybe I need to talk to a coach, somebody who can help me with my nutrition plan or my training plan, or both. And there's all sorts of options out there of good quality people who can help you with that. I've had Matt on the channel several times, who's my coach, handles all my nutrition and everything. But you can find quality people that can help you with that. And if you're not sure, put it in the comments, and I can give you Matt's information. You can always reach out to him and see if there's a fit that makes sense for you guys. So for me, all of the pieces went together, because now I've got a destination, and finally now I've got a plan of how I'm going to get there. Number 5, I'm finally going to the gym. So now we come to the point where I had to come to the understanding that my body as a 50-year-old, or as a 55-year-old today, but my body as a 50-year-old is a lot different than my body was as a 20-year-old. So I had to figure out, and this is where I'm so thankful I had Matt to help me, because I found out that my body metabolism is different in my 50s than it was in my 20s, where I could get away with eating pizza 3-4 nights back in the day and still be, lean and have a six-pack and still be adding muscle and growing. My body doesn't handle it like that anymore. Do I have free meals? Yeah, I have one a week. And I'm happy with that, and we know that my body can handle that. But I had to come to the understanding that just from a metabolism point of view, it's a different animal, because I'm trying to add muscle. I mean, we can all add weight, just eat, right? We've all done it. So, that was one thing. I had to understand that my metabolism, and I would say this for you, is understand your metabolism is different now than it was when you were younger in your 20s or 30s. And so you have to make maybe different decisions about what you eat, when you eat, calorie intake, all of those things, and protein intake. That's a big one as we age, making sure that we get sufficient protein. We just did an episode where we talked about anabolic resistance as we age and why that protein intake and the quantity of it is so important. Okay, so I had to figure out that my metabolism was different. My recovery is different in my 50s than it was in my 20s. So I make a huge priority my time to sleep, my time for days off, my time for just rest and recovery, my time for stretching, which, before I was kind of like, I'll do it if I feel like it. But now these things are vitally important. And as you're putting your program together, understand that you need to give your body enough rest for it to recover from what you're doing at the gym. And with that comes the other part of that actual training, is that intensity and training is different now than it was in my 20s. Number one, I am far more particular about my form than I was in my 20s, because I didn't want to get injured in my 20s, but I don't want to get injured now. And I understand that recovery, it's kind of, no pun intended, it's a pain. So I'm super particular about form, which I had to figure out was a priority. I mean, it's always a priority, right? But which is a huge priority. And I had to also come to the understanding that I cannot train as heavy as I used to in my 20s. And nor do I need to train that heavy in order to see muscle growth and fitness. So I just came to the final kind of realization that, okay, I am probably never going to be able to bench press really, really heavy again. So I've moved over to different exercises. Bench press is just too hard on my shoulders. And so I've moved to different exercises. I've changed my rep schemes. I've changed my weights that I use. And so that's a big one and a big challenge that I had to work through, even in my head, because, we're funny. Sometimes we don't understand that we're not 20. Our brain still thinks we're, 20 or 30 years old. So that was something that we had to take care of once we got to the gym and everything. And then after that, it was just a matter, and my coach said this to me repeatedly, trust the process. Just stay with the process. So I want to encourage you, as you're maybe starting out in your 50s, to get in the gym and get fit. Just trust the process and create that process and just stick with it, and understand that inconsistency is really your victory, is really your strength and your recovery and all of those things. So if you got some value out of this, please take a minute and subscribe to the channel and like the video. It just helps us with the algorithm and with getting it out to other people. And if you can think of other people, maybe they're in their 40s, maybe they're in their 50s or 60s, and you think they would get some value out of this, we're putting out regular content every week to inspire, encourage, inform, and motivate. So thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time.